Okay, so this is July 9th of 2024. It looks like I can kind of see a face. Where's my finger? Oh boy. Right here. Where's my finger? I'm not sure what I'm looking at. This is the reflection on the glass of this, city council meeting I was at. Okay. But what we're going to do is we're going to listen to the monotone of the mayor, the monotone, the voice, in terms of how that individual controls their voice with the monotone. Right? Okay? It's very lulling and hypnotizing. Okay? So we're going to listen to this. This is the introduction to this video as a follow-up to the videos that I've been doing, all right, in regards to 57 apartments being demolished to build in unaffordable housing as it creates homelessness, okay, for multiple families. All right. So this is the introduction to that. So we're gonna be Inspector Gadgets here. So you got to kind of come in on, different senses, right? You got the eyes, you got the hearing. So in this situation, we're going to listen to the voice of the mayor. I think the name is Brenda Locks, if I remember correctly right now. Brenda Locks, yeah, I think so. And then we're going to put it on slow speed, and we're going to listen. And then we're going to just contemplate on it and think about it for a while, okay?
To participate, but City Hall, Civic Plaza, and I believe Councillor Cooner was there and maybe can speak to it a little more, and Councillor Studd, I don't know who else went. It's very...
Can you believe this? Have you ever seen anything like this in your life?
Full of live entertainment and games and food, and it was, and I did see some pictures. So
only the elite get to be on the inside, while the trash gets to be on the outside. You notice that?
Jagannath Rath Yatra.
The ones fighting for their housing is on the outside because they're deemed as trash, while the ones that are wanting to build it are on the inside.
By the Hindu faith,
yeah,
is also known as the chariot.
Yep. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to backtrack it. What was that? A minute? Maybe 2 minutes? We're going to listen to basically the same thing. I'm not exactly... Andre, can you just turn that down for a few minutes? This is just an introduction to my next video. Okay? Not as agitated like you. Alright, so we just want to... So we're at 103. So we're going to take it to 151. See what they're saying. Generation of homeless people! Right here! You gonna kick my ass out on the streets too? Yeah, we know. Black box. Will the police, the real robot, stand up? Okay, so fair enough. We're gonna now put this on slow speed right where we're cued, which is what? 102.01. Alright. Settings. Speed. And then we're going to listen, namely, to the monotone of the mayor on low speed, as if that individual was a robot. I'm just saying. Okay? fool myself. But this is serious. Are you listening to the monotone? It almost sounds like it's a struggle. It's almost like that individual has to force themselves to speak. Okay? And they definitely don't speak with no passion. Or spark. Life. Vitality. Now, mind you, the individual is a mayor, and they have their routines, and they know what they're doing. So, in that sense, it would be a theater, right? Because it's forced. It's forced. The monotone is forced. It's being done on purpose. Okay? And that's another thing. If you listen to the voice of the quote-unquote mayor, you can't even really distinguish the words. Whereas with me, with emotion, like humans have, right through the up and the low, the highs and the lows of that monotone, you can oh my lord, too early in the day, it's long. Differentiate. You can distinguish the different sounds where you can actually form the word and understand what's being said. Whereas with this individual, with the forced monotone, to keep it like, right, basically on one level, with it basically is struggling to keep it at that level, whether it's human or a robot remains to be seen yet. You can't really distinguish the words because there's no feeling behind them, people. Right? There's no emotion. There's no passion. There's no contemplated thought where somebody wants to say something and I guess you could say mean it. You heard how the monotone of my voice went up and down, right? That, listening to that individual speak sounds like they're drunk. You can't really distinguish what they're saying between the different monotones that actually create words. Is that being done on purpose? Well, yeah, because they're trying to make themselves look professional. So as long as they show no emotions, somehow it becomes professional, right? As soon as you come in and you start showing emotions, in comes the cops. In comes security. Right? This is another reason why they're bringing in the immigrants, because the immigrants are coming in feeling, many of them, not all of them, depending on who you're talking about here, okay? They're coming in feeling very, very, very insecure, right? And then they, like I said, they get pushed into these low-income buildings, many of them, okay? And now they're facing homelessness, right? But prior to that problem, what was I trying to say? I don't know. I lost it. This whole situation upsets me. It will come back to me. Little boy kicked him out on the street. You could clearly hear me, but you can't understand what that individual is saying because of the one. It's at a very, what is that called? Is that low energy or is that high energy? With these individuals, everything's freaking backwards. So I would hear it as a low tone. It's very low monotone, right? Where everything slurs together as if they were drunk, right? Which is a form of being misled, okay? Or to hypnotize, or to pacify, because it's not showing aggression. If they were to speak with emotion, passion, feeling, sincerity, right? Their emotions would start to come out on their voice, like as in my voice, and people would react to it. So before they would allow people to react, knowing that the people are already angry, they're going to try and pacify them with that low monotone, right? And right, I said it would come back to me. So with these immigrants coming to Canada, with many of them being very vulnerable, coming in as refugees and that type of situation, right? And then put into apartments clearly that are up for grabs, not to mention unaffordable now, and we've already walked through Gateway Place several times. So same kind of apartments, same kind of issues, right? But it's their home. And many of them, we've seen in the pictures, they were old, young, different ethnic groups, different religions, but everybody was connected for the most part just with the, it's their home, people. Okay? Like they're neighbors. And the government knows that they're not going to fight back. That's what I'm trying to say. Not that they're even capable of fighting back, because they don't have the language skills. They don't have the courage. They're afraid they'll be sent back home from wherever they came from. Right? They're not even thinking about being a targeted family. But little do they know that they are a targeted family just by being in that manufactured pocket of poverty. It's a pocket of poverty. There's different pockets, and the pockets run deep. Where poverty is over here with the fentanyl crisis, where poverty is over here with the overinflation of the housing market when it comes to apartments that used to be affordable for low-income residents, whether they were immigrants or refugees or what, but not anymore. Okay, it's unaffordable. You heard that for yourself. And then, pockets of, like me, stuck in a fucking house, like as if I was some bug in a spider web, all wound up trying to get out. But I can't. I can't. It is impossible. I am showing you why I can't. While the ones sitting on all the wealth, people, and hold all the authority and the power, people, are exploiting that situation and capitalizing off of it, because they're using us as a commodity, and they've been doing it for a long time. All right. So for these people that are at risk of losing their houses, it's a travesty that they come to Canada, settle in, start to make adjustments, even mom saying a few English words, being polite, but expressing her mind with the color of black to say that she's very angry with what's going on, right? Because she can't speak out in English, that is. And I can relate to that. But that's all they can do. That's all they can do. When I approached one of these Acorn workers about the class action lawsuit, they tried to chop me off the knees. I said, no. It's not that difficult, really. Like, it's this and expensive, and you have to do this and do that. I'm like, no, this is what you do. You province, right? The fucking municipality, the property developer, you pay your $200, and you just go. Oh, well, you won't win. Well, then you go back, and you do it again. Right? And every time you come back, the numbers of people on the list is getting longer and longer. Otherwise, they become death statistics where fake coroners fake robotoid coroners fudge the numbers as taxpayers pay for crime. So, I'm like, okay, well, what can you do about that, Judy? Because your time's coming. It's just a matter of time. That's why my son is acting the way he's acting. Right? You can blame some of my son's behavior. Well, that man downstairs, he's not my son today. I'm still mad at him. But that man downstairs, you can blame the city of Surrey for his behavior, bad behavior. He wasn't raised to have bad behavior like that. But with our so-called public representatives doing what they're doing, right? Targeting certain ethnic groups Nowhere in there did you see a Punjabi. There was no Punjabis there, people. There were Muslims. There were Christians. Probably Catholics. Right? Maybe a Buddhist. I don't know. But there sure in the heck wasn't no Punjabis, I can tell you that right now. Why? Because they own half the province, people. They're the ones who are capitalizing off of this as they blame the government. That's like my son running around doing what he's not my son today. That man downstairs, he's running around blaming me for his bad behavior so he can justify to keep doing what he's doing. Just like that man downstairs is kind of getting himself addicted to kleptomania. These politicians, so-called politicians that sit behind a glass wall and then purport themselves to be of authority through a black box just because they have a monotone to trick you into believing that what they do is important, because it's not. Outside of the dead bodies, they leave the crumbs behind. And it's not the crumbs in this case, it's the dead bodies through their kleptomania behavior with snatching up on the houses, snatching up, just like whatever is going on with that man downstairs, throwing my stuff out, demolishing this, destroying whatever. Well, take it to a whole new level, as Lady Jane would say. It's at a whole new level when you've got city council addicted to stealing buildings, whether they're houses or apartment buildings. It's like an addiction for them. But then we knew that. Right? They're just one big group of kleptomaniacs that like to hide behind taxpayers' dollars, knowing that they have the government through legislation to protect their criminal activity so that they're trafficking human beings, people. It broke my heart. Okay, so we talked about that, okay, with the monotone. We'll touch base on it. It broke my heart when I came across those young Muslim girls, right? Reminded me of Shamay. One looked like my daughter, Shamay. Okay? Do you know how that made me feel? To see that young, beautiful, this is the angry mom that wore black to let the what government? The shadow government, the box the black box. She wore black to let the black box know that she don't like what's going on and she angry. And she's not the only one who is angry, because this is a targeted group. They're from Afghanistan, like I said, Syrian. Right? My neighbors next door, they got lucky with that little house. But you're going to find a whole bunch of Syrian families just like this in these same types of buildings. And mark my words, give it a while. It won't be long before they'll be tearing down Gateway Place and push everybody out of that building with no place to go. And it will be the same type of families. Okay? So, who's doing that? Well, the kleptomaniacs. The ones sitting up in so-called City Hall. You might as well classify them as kleptomaniacs. They like to steal a building here, steal a building there, steal a row of houses over there, another row of houses over there. Right? From district to district. From block to block to block. And what are they leaving behind? A trail of a whole bunch of vulnerable people that have been targeted. And what are they targeting them for? Well, I guess it really depends on the type of crime that you're committing. If you're selling fentanyl and that type of thing out on the streets, well then you got your next generation of drug users until they're reeled in for body parts. Okay? So that's big bucks there. Then, of course, we've got prostitution. So don't forget about that. And that's an underground trade. Right? And that can involve children. Because what's happening here is they're bringing in different ethnic groups from areas where some within, I don't want to say the religion itself, but in with the ideology of the mindset of the community from where they came from, they think it's okay to sexually abuse small children. So therefore, when they come to Canada, they don't necessarily leave that behind and never think about it again. No, they come here and they recreate the process so that they can follow their ideology and keep a sense of who they are, even though they're in a country where they're now being told that they're Canadian. Okay? So that the mayor can bring in their Canada Day festival and their Fusion Festival and then brag on about how everybody is just one big family and they're all getting along from, because they're coming in from everywhere. When, in fact, that's not true. Some are prospering, some are doing well, some are exploiting others for profit. Fentanyl sales, one aspect of a criminal group. Illegal organ harvesting, that's another aspect of a criminal group. Prostitution is another aspect of a criminal group. And then, of course, we've got the housing market, which is another aspect of that same criminal group, which becomes an interest group. And then they bring in the robotoids, right? Like the coroner of British Columbia, Canada, to convince you that what you're dealing with is authority, so you better back the F off, because if you don't, you're going to get into trouble. And if you're coming in as an immigrant with no resources outside of what the country is willing to give you as a startup, and then put you into a locked-in, impoverished building or a half of a house, and then expect you to dig yourself out as they're digging the hole 10 times faster before you even get a chance to dig a foot out of that fucking hole. Like I said, they rigged the numbers. They put 5 bullets in the chamber and give you one chance to escape. They don't play fair, okay? But there are no Punjabis here, so we need to ask ourselves why. Okay? Not that I'm picking on the Punjabis, but I don't like it when these property developers like to blame the government in whole as to what they're doing, when in fact it's a fourfold. Federal, provincial, municipal, and then the developers, regardless from where they come from, because many of them are overseas developers. So it could be from China, could be from India, could be from United Emirates, you know what I mean? It all depends on where you're falling into that grid with that criminal organization. This woman doesn't have the skills to even think about that when it comes to the English language, never mind take it to court with a class action lawsuit. So basically she's been set up to fail, and so have her beautiful children, who make me think of Shimei and how beautiful Shimei was. So with that said, knowing what I know, right, and I come from the fucking mean streets here, people, and I'm, I do, honestly, I feel like I have to follow up on this. I have an idea. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it because I'm so busy. Always got some kind of whip on my back, right? We never know what's going to come flying out, as in terms of hornets ready to attack me. But in the meantime, let's find these beautiful young girls who are putting on a brave face with their beautiful smiles, who make me think of Shimei at their age. Honest to God. I wanted my Shimei back. I can't get my Shimei back. But Shimei is one of those dead bodies on the road that the city of Surrey can be proud of, being that they like to cover up murder time after time after time, because they work with the RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, to do that, as well as with the Surrey Memorial Hospital to do that, and so on, and knowing that the government will have their back to do that because of their corrupt Ponzi, slush, their corrupt slush fund, where you, the victim, have to pay to lose. All I have to do is teach these people, pay to lose, 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 until finally there's enough of them where it's going to be very hard for the government. Like I said, there's one chance to escape. 5 bullets in the chamber, pay to lose, pay to lose, pay to lose, pay to lose, pay to lose. The 6th one, you'll escape. And by the time it gets to number 6, you don't know how many people are going to be standing in your court. Okay? And even if they don't speak very good English, or read, or write, because, you know, that's what makes a person successful in life, in some people's minds, they will still be educated with the knowledge of what they're up against. And they will come to the realization, just like standing there and representing their stance in terms of what they are thinking, taking the last stand. This lady was taking the last stand for her home, as her beautiful children are trying to put on a brave face. Where is she? Here she is. Not realizing what's coming because they're just kids, where I've already been there and done that. Okay? With no government assistance when they cut me off of welfare. In essence, the government is cutting these people off of welfare because whatever welfare gives them won't be enough for them to be able to support themselves somewhere else. So this is dirty pool in terms of cutbacks. As they brag about a fusion festival or a Canada Day festival, because what's happening now is the city is rigging the festivals. They've taken over putting on the festivals with their park event team, right? So that when someone like me calls and wants to do a little gig at Holly Park, like the good old days, oh no, I'm looking at $400 for just one day to do a park event in the park in terms of a city license, and another $400 or so for the insurance for the day. But then they put in the restrictions saying, well, no, we don't do them at Holly Park anymore because, you know, a few people complained from the apartment buildings, so therefore we don't do it no more. I said, well, okay, well, maybe you can book me in a different park. Oh, well, I'm busy right now because, you know, it's the end of school. I'll contact you back. This is the city park event team was supposed to contact me back to let me know where I could book a park event, whether it was Holland Park, Bear Creek Park, some other park besides Holly Park. No, people, they didn't call me back. No, because what they do is they set up their fucking parks, and because they've got the money to spend and invest, they put it on a day when everybody's got their little welfare checks or their baby bonuses, so that the moms like this can go out with the kids and feel like they belong to Canada, spend their money, which is going into the city because it's a city-run event, and then they just turn me away, or they make it too difficult. The only reason they have a fusion festival, people, is because I used to go out there in the beginning in 2003, 4, and 5, was hanging up my flags. And with my nonprofit, with the multiple flags on the Outreach to Africa page. In terms of, you know, the world coming together for the right cause. Not as a UN agenda or a global agenda, but just as a humanitarian agenda. And the city, you know, they came in with, oh, well, we're going to hang up our flags now. Did video on that, people. Let's go look for these beautiful girls, young girls, who deserve a future and who are going to, you know, who are being, you know, set up like Shemay. Okay? Okay? You know, these girls, they make me think of Shemay. Like, honest to God, could be my Shemay. Right? And you can see, but after everything was done, some pictures came up by looking into their eyes. Their eyes are lost already, people. Their eyes are lost because, you see, at this age, they don't quite understand what's coming. My kids had already faced it. Why do you think my kids are so messed up? Because the government wanted them to be fucking messed up. Because once you start breaking up the family, then it's easier to pick them off. Okay? This is a tight-knit family that is hanging on a thread in Canada. But still, progressing because the children are learning how to read English and do all this, and and they're not hoodlums. They're not being taught to be freaking kleptomaniacs. That's not what their parents want for them, okay? My kids were like this, end up in that shanty shack, ended up in that fourplex with the grow-up, right? Came here, Uncle John went missing, right? We know the story. Andre was illegally apprehended. Sierra was turned into a fucking junkie. Next thing you know, and then Shemai's dead. Then Sierra's lured. Okay, this is the first stages. This is what I went through with my family, is the first stages of what this family is going to go through. On a, I can't guarantee it, but on a probability of a scale of 1 to 10, I'd put it at a 7. Oh yeah, most definitely, because they're poor. They're not a rich Muslim family, and plus they're from Afghanistan. If they came from the United Emirates, well, maybe they'd probably be living in the monster homes. Okay, because that's a different class. You know what I'm saying? Right? Where these ones came from Afghanistan. Right? Oh, we got some camera hams here. Yeah, they got camera hammer. They started to become camera hams real quick. That's what young people do. Right? It was cute. Mm-hmm. What's that? What did she say? What did she say?
She said she's upset. That's why she's wearing all black.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, Mom's upset, right?
Yeah.
Is it your building that's being demolished? So you're losing your home?
Yeah.
Yeah, now you can see her eye is worried. Look, she's worried. She's weary. She's weary. She looks like she's ready to cry, people. Okay? But she's putting on a brave face. And she reminds me of Shemay. I want her to be my Shemay. I want my Shemay back, but I'll never get my Shemay back. But looking at her makes me think there's Shemay. Right? So how about I don't know. How about I leave it on this, with this for now, because I got things I have to do around here. And it's really, really hot. So I just need, I need to empty those jars. Right? With the, when I was underneath the cupboard. I'm not going outside right now because I don't want to. I don't want to get dirty, right? Once I'm out, I get dirty, and then I pretty much stay out, right? Whereas if I poke around in the kitchen today and that kind of crap, whatever. My disposition is good. I'm not so angry right now with them downstairs because, I don't know, it wasn't as abrasive as it has been in the past in terms of, I know they're being sneaky. Right? When the cat's away, the mice will play. So, I know they're being sneaky, right? So, but I don't know. I'm not going to worry about it. This stuff here needs to be talked about more. I am going to look for the Criminal Code of Canada. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking to order a new one. I will do that. I will order an up-to-date. I have 2003, 2009, maybe, I don't know. 2009, 2018. I think I've got 2009, 2018, and then I have to bring it up, and I'm gonna order myself the Criminal Code of Canada, up-to-date one, and I'm gonna read it like a Bible because that's kind of what you have to do. That's what it feels like, right? But not too many people believe in that Bible. That's the problem, right? It's something for them to turn upside down and mock and pretend that they're, of morality, right? When it comes to a public representative. I was thinking of maybe I should run for mayor the next time it comes up. But then I realized that you need a lot of money for that. And I don't have a lot of money. And you need people to go knock on doors and even let them know that you're even around. I don't have that kind of support. So I couldn't be a mayor even if I wanted to. Although if somebody did that for me and tried to put me on the roster, yeah, I would stand. I would, people. I'd be the best mayor you ever had. Freaking right. Yeah. I'd probably make a lot of enemies along the way. Because I'd be thinking about what these people. And there's a lot of people like them. That's the thing. There's a lot of people like them, and the numbers are growing, and it needs to be documented, because right now the government hides the statistics and fudges the numbers and falsifies files in terms of the reason why they died, right? And I can only imagine where those suites are going to go. Now, I did hear through passing that before you move, try and stay as long as you can, so that it somehow, some way, I don't know how they do it, the owner of the property buys you out, offers you a bunch of money to leave, to vacate. So the longer you can stay and hold your ground and not give in to the eviction, apparently you'll get a higher offer. Now, whether that's done through court or whether that's just being done through strategy, does it only apply to apartment buildings because you're dealing with large numbers of suites, or does it apply in a single house, 3 houses in a row? If I went to those neighbors, and all of us between the 3 houses held our ground and tried to do some wheeling and dealing with the owner of the 3 properties, because it would be an owner of 3 because they're tearing them all down at one time, right? To buy us all out. But that's what? So they give you $25,000 to get the fuck out. So you might be able to top off your rent for a year on top of what you would normally pay. And then you'd be right back where you started from, because you wouldn't have that money no more, and your rent would still be $3,500 a month, $3,200 a month, $2,700 a month, anything that you can't afford. So that's not a good strategy, right? It doesn't build in housing security, right? So I'm going to order a new Criminal Code of Canada. Treat it like a Bible, because it reads like a Bible, right? You know why you're doing it, in terms of for the right reason. Like, who does that? Who just orders the Criminal Code of Canada and just starts reading it? Just for the sake... Well, what do you like to read? Well, I like to read the Criminal Code of Canada. Yeah, that's really just gets me all excited. Yeah, okay. And then I'm thinking, well, what I need to do, I need to go look at my binders. Doesn't matter what the binder is, but go look at my binders with legislation. Even though it's old legislation, it's still a template to start building a lawsuit around people. Not for me, although I might end up being on that list, but for somebody else. More than one. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm the one that has to start the process, for whatever strange reason, at least in my neck of the woods. At least in my neck of the woods, right? And, try and put together the best I can, what I can, with my own knowledge of what I've already done. And not doubt myself. I'm not going to doubt myself because I don't know everything. I know there's gaps in there. In other words, don't ask me to bring in case law, because I personally think it's a waste of time, because I don't want to sit here and talk about somebody else's issue as they ignore my issue. The lawsuit is about my issue, not about some case law from way back in the day that has nothing to do with what's happening today. But that's the way the court system is rigged, right? Or what else would I be at a flaw at? Asking for money. I don't know how to ask for money. When we filed for Uncle John, first thing at the top of the list was visiting rights. We wanted visiting rights with nobody spying on us. And then we wanted to bring him home. Right? And then money was secondary. At the end, I put $10 million. Not because I knew I was going to get $10 million. I just knew I had to put something down. So, right? So I kind of leave that section open, and I'm thinking if I can write the base, you know, get the, it's the civil claim itself in terms of the, you know, the issue, right? The issue, and, right? And you know, but my issue is, once you get me reading the Criminal Code of Canada, I'm not comfortable or satisfied just to bring out 1 or 2 codes. I want to bring out 10 people. And then that's when you start back to back to back to back, when you're standing in front of a judge in a real so-called court of law, right? And you know, he wants to dismiss it, and you're like, well, no, you can't, Your Honor, because there's this under the Criminal Code of Canada, there's this under the Criminal Code of Canada, this section, and this is what happened with that section, don't forget this section. And by that time, the motherfucker's turning red in the face because he knows he's being called on it. But, oh no, you know, something about, and then I said, okay, fine, you don't want to acknowledge the criminal, no, it was first he didn't want to acknowledge provincial legislation. This is when they threw it out with Uncle John, right? Judge Savage, I think his name was. And, you know, I was, you know, citing this legislation, this, so on and so on, right? And, oh no, that's not good enough, you know, blah, 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 blah. And then I said, well, what the hell? Well, we got the Criminal Code of Canada. Da, 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 da. He went fucking totally red, people. And then he said, you know, he's going for recess because he turned red, right? Because I called him on his shit, right? And then he had the freaking sheriff follow me out of the courthouse because I had to get aggressive. No, Your Honor, you can't throw it out of court because, don't forget, we've got this under this legislation, this. Well, that's not good enough, Mitch. Okay, well, if that's not good enough, there's the Criminal Code of Canada under this section, right? And you're moving, and, you know, you have to throw your voice and, you know, be assertive, right? No. He sent the sheriff after me, telling me to, I don't know. And then he still threw it out because they're bought and paid for. But if you notice, when I filed for, I guess you could say, Shmay, Uncle John was right there with us. He'll never leave. If I file another lawsuit, people, Uncle John is leaving the pack. I've always said it. We're not leaving him behind. Hell no. And what we looked at yesterday, there's a lot of Uncle Johns in there. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Even the Auntie Jones that maybe aren't perfect, but they don't deserve to be mistreated either, right? And certainly not the young Shmays coming up in the ranks to the point where they become a statistic with roadkill. And the cops are just covering it up. Hell, dead animals on the road, a raccoon, a bird, they get more respect than humans dead on the road. Okay? Like, seriously. So I'm like, okay, all right, we know I'm going to order the Criminal Code of Canada. What do I got to lose? I can still read a little bit. And I've got tons of legislation, and I'm going to look at them. I'm already thinking in my head which one would be applicable. And the only thing I can think of that would be the most potent at this point, in terms of importance, right, where somebody might notice it, would be the community of, I see it's been so long, right? Community something living, right? Yeah, because that deals with a lot of. Has it been 15 minutes? Can you make me a coffee first and then go down? I'm almost done this video. Here, okay? I gotta get going too. Okay, so community assisted living or something like that. What it is an extension of the Ministry of Children and Family Development, or the Ministry of Innovations and something, which is 2 parts to welfare, right? The Ministry of Children and Family Development is if you have a child, right, you can get social services and they pay you a check through welfare to, right, for your family, as well as single people. The community assisted living in another part is to help the elderly with subsidies to provide services to them, right? To one degree or another. Or if you end up dealing with a foster care situation, I'm just going on my memory here, people. It's been a long time, right? If and I may have the act confused with something else, but if you're dealing with a child that's up for grabs, okay, it's in court and you're fighting for custody or in guardianship or whatever, right? They call it guardianship now, right? Ministry of Children and Family Development, they have their legislation that they operate under. And then I have my legislation that I operate under. I'm looking for my glasses. Right? Like I'm thinking about when I went to court with Andre, for Andre. There were two legislations on the table. There was the ministry's legislation, and then there was my legislation. Those two legislations, whatever their titles are now, because maybe the government changed the titles on them, but I have the basic template, and I know what I'm looking for, right? And that's a good start, because we are dealing with kids, a lot of kids, and we are dealing with the elderly, a lot of them, and the disabled, a lot of them, okay? So those are the two key legislations, I guess, that have the most clout at this point, in terms of there are things that are written in there that are meant to protect the public, but they're not being followed by our government. And that's a hard nut to crack, because they like to use legislation to their benefit, but when it hurts you and you call them on it, they act like it doesn't exist. That's the nut that needs to be cracked. That's the barrier. And it's rough, because you're up against that $2 billion slush fund, right, where the employees within the court system and so on are basically bought and paid for and bribed, or maybe they're a robot, who knows now, right? They've shaved off the services in terms of making a proceeding legitimate. We've seen that when I did the court with Shimei's lawsuit, when they did me on this MS Teams, which was a gong show, okay? It should have been done in a courthouse, but they don't want the public to see it. They don't want the public to get aware. They don't want the public to get antsy and agitated with it, where they might get angry and come out and rally, right? So the more they can keep you in the dark with that little black box, the more that they can continue to do what they do, as they throw their legislation, the same one that you want to throw at them, but you're not allowed to. They will throw that same legislation and use it against you. So in other words, when they kick out these families with these vulnerable children, maybe not every child is going to go into foster care, but you can guarantee there's going to be a handful in there that are going to be plucked out. Pick off some here, pick off some there. They're going to pick off some kids from that building or a building like it to prop up middle class, their budgets, so it can trickle into their superannuation life insurance policies, whether they're legitimate or ghost accounts, because when it comes to a public union sector, you don't know what's real or what is anymore, right? I can't stress it enough, people. I proved it with the coroner of British Columbia, Canada. That thing was a robot. And we will do follow-up on it. But this is important. So yeah, I can see writing a class action lawsuit for single parents, parents, grandparents, caregivers, even foster care workers, really. Because some foster parents live in apartments too, right? Depends. It depends on the foster care type of situation. If you're running it like a business, then yeah, you're going to have a big-ass monster house. But if you're just, you know, an auntie in a situation like that where the child is in the home of the care of a relative, well, you'd still be considered a foster parent, but you'd be facing the same dilemma, to which at any point the government can come in and take those kids out of that home, put them in a different foster, which becomes now human trafficking, right? Into another different foster care situation, because the auntie all of a sudden lost her housing and couldn't afford to house, right, her nephew or her niece or whatever, and yeah, government gonna come take those kids. For human trafficking purposes. It's not just take them. Why are you taking them? Because you're propping up a middle class, that's why. And you're keeping your budget of $1.3 billion within the Ministry of Children and Family Development when it comes to child apprehension. But before they can justify the budget, they have to create the crises, right? That's what they're doing. Because I know what's coming, because I've already seen it for these people. I know, not all of them, but a whole lot of them. Not going to be no easy ride, people. Oh, God, no. They're already in panic. I told you, everybody's sitting around fucking paranoid. As soon as a big truck runs by, their hearts are palpitating, right? I mean, as much as those young women were trying, and girls, because one was maybe about 14, 15, 16, something like that, like Shemay, right? She's turning into a young woman, right? And then the younger girls, I mean, they were all brave. You know, that's the one thing I noticed. They were very, very brave, and they were willing to come in front of the camera. As a matter of fact, they wanted to be camera hams, right? And express what was going on, because that's the fear that they feel, people. Because you have to remember, this complex has been fighting this for a year. So for over a year, they've been fearful. There's that loose harvesting. Now, when I filed that lawsuit for Shemay, I listed down loose harvesting people. I listed down satanic fucking activity being facilitated by the government. And then what they did is they brought in their funky fucking case law and tried to go on about something or somebody, whatever, when that person went and tried to, you know, call the government on that same type of behavior. But instead of expressing the idea that this was case law and it was somebody else, they did that monotone where it made it was like they were talking about me. They made it look like they were talking about me, but they were using somebody else's case law that was, I guess, taking them to court for witchcraft or something like that to some degree, or at least brought it to their attention. And, you know, and therefore, you know, I was a waste of the court's time, frivolous, obviously maybe somewhat bonkers. They didn't come right out and say I was bonkers, but that it was, I don't know, and the judge just threw it out. Now I have a choice. I can file another one, which I always said I'm going to anyway, even though, right? Or I can work on this, and the way I figure is I'll work on this because it's the bigger cause, right? You know what I'm saying? And I have to find a way where these people can tell their stories within a reasonable amount of characters in terms of letters and words and that type of thing, right? In terms of, okay, you got evicted out of your home on such and such a date, fast track a year later, because you're going to draw in people from the past, right? Not only the ones facing it, but you're going to, you know, if you put this out there where people get aware of it, the ones that want to help be a part of it, stand their ground, whatever reason they got, they'll just naturally migrate to you. That's what will happen. But they have nothing to migrate. There's no magnet. The magnet is the black box, which is nothing but witchcraft and trickery. Okay? With that monotone voice that blurs together as if they were drunk on low speed. Okay? That says a lot, because everybody hears things differently, right? That's to pacify. That's to hypnotize. That's to lull everybody to sleep. so that they don't get angry and fight back, right? So, you know, I figure, I don't know what I figure. I just figure I need to, I know what two legislations I want to look for. We know I'm going to read the Criminal Code of Canada and pluck out some codes. The water's boiling, Andre. We know if I really sit down and try hard and just get with it, I could probably type out something in a nutshell within less than a week, where those people would take a lifetime, in terms of the mum all wearing black because she was angry, and right? Andre, the water is boiling. Yeah. She needs someone like me to write it down for her, but I need someone like her who can gather up 10,000 just like her. Huh?
Do I have to wash a cup?
No. You're right. She represents 10,000 other black women in their burqas, all black, being angry because of what's happening to their children. Where I represent the words, because I already know what's going to happen to their children, because I've already went through it with my children, and that's why my family is the way it is today, which is in many ways very damaged because of that cortisol that goes on in the brain, which when you're doing this to small children, right, it creates psychological problems, which becomes actual child abuse if you really want to think about it. And that's where those legislations come into play. Right? Okay? What the city of Surrey is doing, along with their partner groups, including the provincial government, is child abuse. Because they're creating a lot of damaged minds. And not only that, but they're also creating food insecurity, and they can't rely on a freaking food bank to fill the gap. Okay? That's not good leadership. That is corralling people to depend on one food source, so that when the food runs out in the grocery stores, they're already pre-trained to stand in line for their rations. That is not a quality of living for anybody. Okay? Just because they're low income doesn't mean that they're slaves. So you have to take on the slave state. Right? And you got to find the legislation, right, where you're actually fighting slavery.
Has it been 15 minutes or has it been?
Just give me, I'm almost done this video. Go down when I'm done the video, okay? I don't want to worry about him.
You're not going to come over now?
Yeah. Okay, I'm almost done. Okay? We're just thinking out loud here, okay? Because basically these people are enslaved. The government, and that's another thing, you can even get into immigration, as if I want to read that. In terms of legislation, these people did not come here to be enslaved by a corrupt government that's in bed with self-interest groups, basically, right? Shadow government, as they bring in their robots to, I don't know, save money, get rich off those shadow accounts. What does a robot need? $100,000 a year in a paycheck plus pension plans, blah, 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 if it's just a fucking robot. But yet it puts its John Henry on a death certificate. That's my story. So my story should go on no more than 5 pages. Right? Give each person 5 pages to write the story and every bad thing that freaking happened to them since what our governments have been doing. Take it back 5, 8 years ago. Tell me your story. If you can't read and write in English very well, maybe I'll do a little questionnaire, just a few key questions. Has any people died in your household in the last 5 years? Yes. What were the causes? Fentanyl, murder, natural, suspicious, unknown, right? And then if they want, you leave a little description so they can write it down, okay? And then, I don't know, you see, this is where you end up doing it all by yourself, because all that would become a statistic, and you'd have to go through each and every page and kind of log it down as to what is what and what is what as you build your case, so that when you go to the government you can say, well, we've got 500 people here where all 500 have had a family member die from fentanyl under suspicious circumstances, even though the cops want to blame the victim and say that they killed themselves because they were depressed. but the family disagrees.
He might go to the pool. Can I go with him maybe?
We'll see.
It's a nice sunny day out.
We'll see.
Unless I find flip-flops. So that's it.
Okay. So yeah. All right. So what is you know, like, I can't imagine coming to Canada right now as an immigrant, unless of course you're with an interest group, then you're well protected, right? But if you're coming in from Afghanistan, Bangladesh, perhaps even Syria, right, and places like that, I mean, they're just being brought in to be set up to fail, basically, unless of course they're coming in with the big bucks. Then they're fine. They're with the cool crowd. But if they're not with the cool crowd, well, they come in with that 5 bullets in the chamber and 1 chance to escape, right? And they're exploiting children and vulnerable people in general. And if you're coming in as an immigrant, I mean, the country itself is obligated. The country itself is obligated. And yes, this is what's getting us into trouble, because they are bringing in so many immigrants. You know, things have switched where city councils are investing a lot of their money, especially in the United States, right? Where, you know, funds are being invested to prop up the immigrant, while the citizens, whether United States or Canadian, are being left out on the curb. But here we can see in this apartment building, a lot of those individuals were immigrants. So they're, you know, we can't ignore that fact that certain ethnic groups, that's the way you say it, certain ethnic groups are being targeted for genocide on a long term, or as a commodity, right? They're being brought in as a commodity, because just as I see that young Muslim girl, or the 2 of them, right, or 3, there was 3 of them there really, I look at them and I think of Shimei, and I want one of them to be my Shimei. Literally, that's my daughter. You're my daughter. I'm taking you home. You're my daughter. You look like my daughter. You're so happy and beautiful like my daughter was at one point in life. I want that back, but I'll never get that back, right? And what was the point of that? But at the end of the day, her family is being set up to be a statistic like my family was. And they don't even see it coming. How would they? Did I see it coming? No. So, under immigration laws in that situation, because it goes back to that speaking with forked tongue, right? You can't bring them in, spend all this money to house them, kick out Canadians to house them, and then end up kicking them out to treat us exactly like, you know, treat them exactly like like we were treated before they got here, right? But it goes back to those bodies, people. Why do you think they want them with such straight teeth? Because they like to take their teeth. And there's only one place they're going to put those teeth. In corners that work for the province of British Columbia, Canada, to cover up what's really happening. So how I write all that shit down, what legislation I pull up. But the first 2 I know what to look for. So in my travels over the course of the week, hopefully I'll find them. And once I find them, you'll remember they're big ass fucking binders, right? I'm like kicking myself in the ass saying, why did you photocopy all that? You know, your son just wants to throw it out, and it doesn't mean anything, and, you know, but you still might need it, and, you know, don't give up, you know, fighting for your family, right? Fighting for Uncle John, fighting for Sierra, fighting for Shimei, fighting for Amari, just fighting all the time, fucking fighting. You know, don't throw away those binders yet. Wait until you're dead. Then, if they want, they can throw. But for you, you might need them, and I think this might be the time. In my spare time. I figure, just get the claim written, try and... Oh, God. I don't know, people. I'd have to do a small questionnaire of some kind. Maybe even do a video. Write something on a piece of paper with the link to the video, so that if I go to the grocery store on foot, I can hand it out. I might talk to 1 or 2 or 3 people. That's all I can do. That's what I get. Then maybe they might want to sign on and join the class action lawsuit by giving me a legitimate name with a legitimate address and phone number. But of course, they just have to give me their name and their phone number to start, because I'm not that organized yet. And I might never be that organized. Right? So by that point, more people will maybe know about it, and you might find one that can help you to fill in some gaps, because there will be gaps. And they might know somebody how to push the envelope a little further. But initially, just from what I've seen, I'm going to end it on this note because this is getting too long, right? Just what I seen, Andre, I'm almost done. Just what I seen going on at that public closed door fucking black box, whatever that was, Twilight Zone, weird shit. They're not capable of doing it for themselves. And the group Acorn, that's the Canadian Acorn, is separate from the Americans, okay? 2 different types of groups. That's not what they do. So of course they would say don't do it. But if there was 200 people signed on, I could see them coming and maybe want to help, maybe. But I have to get the 200 first. But I already know that all we need is 4, and that's coming in challenging the Criminal Code of Canada when it comes to a criminal organization, where it only takes 3 to form a criminal organization for it to be a criminal organization under the Criminal Code of Canada. So I figure 1 more, 4, for it to be considered a class action lawsuit compared to 200 signatures. You only need 4 because of what the Criminal Code of Canada states when it comes to a criminal organization. And then they'll throw it out under this section of that section of something, saying that, no. You have to have 500 signatures on a class action lawsuit before you can even file the fucking claim. Well, no, you can file the claim. You get your chance on MS Team with your monotone freaking whatever fake shit, right? You demand that, you find a way to demand to have it done at least in a courthouse, right? Right? Being that we have them. I don't know how you get your way with that one, but because they're trying to do everything online, and now they're locking out people from city halls. So why should I care? Why should I waste my time? I'm going blind, as if I even have time to do that. Why do I feel like I think I can do it even though I probably can't? Because I'm just overwhelmed with everything else. And I'm still... Well, but you can sneak it in. It's just an hour here, an hour there. You know why? Because when I used to do it, people, oh my God, you really have to get in the zone. But once you're in the zone and you're doing it, it goes pretty fast in terms of... But then along comes Rhea, and she starts changing everything. Like when I did my appeal with Judge Ross, I did my appeal, I typed it all out, she came, got video on that, she adjusted it, did it online, and because she didn't help me to submit it and I couldn't get there and do it for myself, it never got submitted, but it got written, it was read online. And the government's just, I don't know what the government's doing with it. I haven't received anything yet. They're going to come and tell me I owe them money for wasting the court's time. Yeah. As I'm going to now fight for my life. Because not only am I fighting for my life, well, for them, people. I'm fighting for them, but at the end of the day, I'm also fighting for myself because it's going to be my time soon enough, too. With this house that I live in. So, twofold. Fight for them and fight for my family. And if I can get half of it done, maybe somebody will come and pick up the other half and take it to where it needs to go. If it doesn't happen, and I get what I done, and all we get is just me babbling on about it, and a few ideas, well, then so be it. That's all we get. Right? In terms of, like, having somebody step forward that is better equipped to deal with the rules of the court and submitting the right paperwork at the right time, knowing how to deal with case law, and asking for resolution where it's understandable to the court. Okay, so that's where I'm at with things. Now, I don't know. I got way too much other shit I gotta do right now, so I'm just gonna try and focus on that for a few days. And then my next video, I don't know. We'll just see where I'm at, what's on my mind. You know, I mean, it could be anything. It could be me opening up. As a matter of fact, it might be that chicken fat that I pressure canned. I haven't opened that up and used it yet, right? I want to know if that oil is good. It should be. I pressure canned it, right? So it's 75 minutes. So it should be good. So maybe we'll just do a light video. Maybe I'll do the next video starting off with that, and we'll open up my beans in a jar that have been sitting there since God knows when, and we'll see how they're holding up and that kind of thing. So we'll be back. Okay, you can see better than me. This is where I have some things. Medical files and all that crap. Right? This is where you pay to lose, people. The government knows it. They hope that the paperwork will drive you nuts. And for some people, it does. Unless, of course, that's your niche in life. In other words, if you wanted to grow up to be a lawyer and you wanted to do that, then yeah, it's everything you love. But if you're in a position like mine, where you felt the necessity to do it, right? Because you loved your family and you wanted to try and protect them and get justice and so on and so on. Right? Don't even know what's in that binder. This one right here has nothing. Jeez. Okay. Now I know I've got some of these binders downstairs. They're in Auntie Tisha's room, aka the business. Yeah, those were the types of binders I'm looking for. And I've got some downstairs. I'm assuming they're still there, because the last time I was down there they were, which is good, because I wasn't too sure what I was going to do with them, because it's very easy to give up, right? This is how I'm ending this video that I'm doing right now. What's these cookbooks? What do we got? Can I read it? How to make good curries. Oh, there you go. That sounds interesting. What's this one? Curries. Alright. Alright, well, maybe we'll do some curry. I'll keep these books handy. Beautiful books. Alright, so maybe what we're looking for is in one of these kind of binders. But I've got other binders downstairs. What do we got? Medical files, hospitals, Amari's. No, this is Amari's crap. YouTube. YouTube gets their own file. Do you see that? Actually, I'm working on YouTube right now with my videos, playlists and whatnot. Tisha. Okay, so yeah, so I moved a lot of the legislation downstairs as I was working on the lawsuit with what happened to Shimei situation. And, you know, I'm hoping my son didn't throw them out. I don't think so. I know there's a few of them down there, but God forbid if they threw them out, people. And then these ones in here. I probably got about, oh, I don't know, maybe 7. Yeah, see, these are the ones I'm looking for. But I've got other ones downstairs. There's books, books, books. This is when I did park events. Yeah, okay, do you see? And then we've got more downstairs. So, what do we got? Child apprehension statistics. So, in a situation like this, whatever's in there is backdated to whatever year, which could be used as a base to add on to what's happening now in terms of if you can get the legitimate statistics, right, for 2023 when it relates to child apprehensions due to the housing market, with people not being able to get adequate housing for their children. So that would be a means for welfare to go in there and take the kids, right? Health supports for children in care. Guide, social worker, foster care, right? So, you know, I'd have to breeze through it and just get the gist of what they're talking about. And if they highlight areas where they're being explicit as to what circumstances are used to apprehend children, then yeah, you'd want that, right? In terms of, in this legislation, this is where it says da-dee-dee-da-da. No, they're in inadequate housing, right? They're in inadequate housing, say, for example. Well, if the government, regardless of its authority, provincial, municipal, whatever, is not providing adequate housing to the general population where people are having their needs met, then who becomes negligent? The government. They're the ones putting the kids at risk if the parents can't afford to rent a house or an apartment because of what our politicians are doing. So do you see now how this legislation might end up becoming important? So even if you find what you're looking for and you write it down and you point it out and you hold them to account, that's when they will ignore it, call you frivolous, say you're scandalous, and a waste of the court's time. And if that doesn't work, then they'll say that you broke this rule, that rule. And if that doesn't work, then they bring in funky fucking case law that has nothing to do with you, accuse you of being that person that they're talking about, and throw it out on those grounds. So you got like at least 3 barriers to get through before you can maybe come into contact with a legitimate judge to hear your case. So what's the next one down? Foster care, family, BC Federation of Foster Parent. Okay, and then we've got, what else we got? It was this one. to think I wrote so small. Public safety, strategy, City of Surrey, 2016. Okay, well, you could pull that out and you could breeze through it and see what they consider to be public safety, when in fact City Council is putting the public at risk to homelessness, the targeting of an individual or a whole family, to violence, to impoverished, dire circumstances where they lose their kids to foster care because they don't have adequate housing, or if they do, there's no food in the house, and even though they can go to a food bank 2 times a month, it's not enough to feed a family. Therefore, they're considered negligent because their cupboards are bare. I'm just using that as an example. Okay, so that's something we can breeze through. And do you see how it all kind of lining up, right? Also, too, you know, you're dealing with street violence. You've got kids in school carrying knives now, you know, and we're talking grade 6, 7, and 8. Those are very, you know, young children carrying knives to school in groups as they're slam dunking, what a slam to the ground or whatever they call it, where they grab somebody by the neck, pull them up, you know, so their feet are kind of like off the ground, and then slam them down to the ground. Like, where's the public safety in that? And the more that the government continues with their loosh harvesting, with their fear tactics and psychological warfare on the public with the forked tongue, right? The more violent communities will become. Not because they want to, but because of that displaced anger, people. Okay? Which is being instigated by politicians. All right. Safety strategies, City of Surrey, 2016. Surrey corporate itchy throat, dust coming in. Report 2015. Vulnerable women, definitely putting women out on the streets with children. So this is where you draw on that legislation or whatever it is. See if it still even exists, and if it does, try and figure out what was changed in it, because you know they're always trying to cover their asses, right? And then put it in the real world, how it affects real people, and how it's an inadequate legislation that is nothing but hogwash, and then, yeah, call the city on it. Surrey Poverty Reduction Project, 2012. So what happened to that program? Did it just come in as a voting initiative to get people to vote on and join the party, and once the party was in power, you know, give it a few years, people would forget, and maybe that program doesn't even exist anymore? Clearly it's 2012. So that's another one that you want to look up on, because whatever they're doing in this 2012 isn't being done in 2024. No. If anything, it would be the opposite. And that's where you show the forked tongue, right? Plan for social well-being of Surrey. Residents, March of 2006. Wow, that one even goes further back. What the heck was I thinking when I did this, people? But we should see where Surrey City Council's mindset was at in 2006 compared to what it's at right now. Okay? And this binder's not done yet. Community Poverty Reduction Pilot Project 2014. So they started it in 2012, then they brought out the pilot in 2014. What happened to it? Because ain't nobody talking about it right now. We're dealing with kleptomaniacs too busy grabbing houses and apartment buildings like as if they're thieves in the night, right? To, you know, steal everything and toss the people off to the curb. Okay, Statistics Canada, Surrey profile. Regional District Census 2011. So I could look at that in terms of, I guess, a profile when it comes to the different types of ethnic groups and the numbers of them and blah, blah, you know, how many residents are in the city of Surrey or within the district of Surrey, and then take those numbers and apply them to 2022, 2023, whatever the last numbers are under that same sort of census, to see how much the city has grown since 2011. Okay. Contact between children in, out of home care, their birth families. Obviously Andre related, okay? And so on and so on. Now, like I said, I know I've got some downstairs, so I'll have to go down there. It'll give me a reason. And when I go down there looking for these, I'll spend a few hours doing what I need to do. I got to get out a yellow table so I can get on with the things that I need to do. So I should have no problem finding the other ones. And then down here, it's just papers that, whatever, I just kind of stuffed them in here. You can see that. I have to go through them, like, but it's hard. And then down there are music books that Shimei would have played. Piano. And there's like clarinet and those kind of things. Saxophone, whatever. Oh my God. But downstairs, my son. Oh, forget my son. He's not my son. He's just some man that lives downstairs. Him and that person, I'm pretty sure they threw out a whole bunch of music books. Yeah. Which is kind of shitty. So now that I got that open, I will... I don't know. Once you start bringing out these binders, people, I've got no place for freaking binders right now. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just pull one out for now. Until I find the ones that I want. I know which two. I'm looking for two specific ones, but they might be downstairs. Unless they're in here, but I don't know. But I'll pull out one. One regarding the city. Maybe I should go back as far as 2006. I'll pull out that one. Whatever binder that one was that goes as far back as 2006. And I will open it up and then, yeah, we'll probably talk about it on one of these videos in between frying with my chicken fat that I pressure canned, oh, I don't know, maybe a year ago for 75 minutes in a little jar that was 125 mils. Just to see if it worked. Right? Okay. Now I'm going to put some in... Oh, I'm going to come back for that book. I don't want to pull right now. Oh, Amari's getting heavy, man. But Andre and I, we carried him up together. He took one end, he took his underneath his arms, and I took Amari's feet. Oh, that was so much easier. When you try and carry him yourself, oh, it's just so heavy. It's so hard on my back and my legs. But when we got home, I said, Andre, instead of Nana carrying him up the stairs, you help me, you carry, and I carry. And between the two of us, it was much better. Much better. So, because Amari's getting bigger now, right? So, we have to figure out strategies. Right? This is when I was doing park events. And we were doing our little votes with the kids. I made those. Laminated. What's this book? We'll just take a look at these books before I put them away. I'm gonna come back. I have to make a spot for it. Reader's Digest. Brain stretches. It's quite thick. All kinds of stuff in there. We're not doing that right now. I gave Marina one of these when I asked her to help me to sell a few things, but she didn't take it serious. No. So when I went down there and was doing what I was doing, I noticed it was just kind of tossed off to the side. But after they threw out my stuff and shit, the last time they did it, not this time, but like the second time they did it, you know, I mean, obviously it was quite emotional. And then she just, I'm not helping you to sell nothing. Fuck you. And I'm like, yeah, okay, no problem. As if you were helping. This is for making a picture. I have that nice wood burning kit. So I'll put that there. What's this book? Something black. I think you can write in this book. Yep. It even has lines. Maybe I'll use this book. Why don't we do that? But I have to do now because it's too nice. I have to do, well, there's already something in it. Not much though. I don't know. The lines are fairly big and I'd have to use a black Sharpie, thick, so I can see it easily. So maybe I should use this one. I don't know. I can decide later because I got a different one here that I can use for like what I'm going to do. I need to start fresh and I need to organize myself where I don't get confused because I can't see it. Like I have these kind. I have a few of them around. I don't know if this one's got something in it. Do you see? I could use this one if I want. Well, there's already something in it, but it's just a few pages too. Right. And I've got several of these. Pay to lose, people. So why don't we go with the flow? We'll take this one. We'll save that black one for something else another day. And I'll read what's there. And then from there, I'll move forward with what I'm going to work on. Right. Here's another book. What is this? John Thompson Modern Course for Piano. That actually goes down there. And then we've got this big one here. Children's songbook. So it's another music book. Oh, there's something in here that's moving around. What is it? Beautiful book. Really nice. Good shape. Okay. Put it there. Oh, you don't fit there. There's another piece of wood. Where can I put you? Maybe here? No. Where were you? Maybe here. No, maybe there. Okay. And then we've got our curry books. Oh my god. But I don't want curry right now. And I don't want to lose the books. So we're just going to put it back there for now. And we'll just put curry on our mind at some point in the future. And I'll come back in later after I find a spot for that one particular binder to start with. When I go downstairs, I'm gonna continue reading and see what I'm looking for is here, and if not, then that means it's downstairs. And within the week, I'll be downstairs, and I'll pull those up and do a little bit of something, and I will make a path. I'll decide what kind of computer I'm going to use for this, in terms of right, because once I get there, after I've done a little bit of reading, it comes out pretty fast. Right. All I have to do is the rough draft, people. That's all I have to do. That's my job. Get the rough draft going, fake the funk, do the best you can, and then take it out to the public, you know, hang around, and maybe make a little questionnaire and see what happens. And the worst case scenario, I'll have a few years to work on it before the next mother, you know what, come knocking on my door. Here's your eviction notice. We bought your house. We're tearing it down at such and such a date. Get the F out, because if you don't, we're bringing in the bins. I'd be like, oh, really, motherfucker? Yeah, okay, you see this? Well, here, welcome to my club. I'll see you in court. Alright? And by that time, I probably won't end up going in by myself. There'll be other people there. Right? Just saying. Yeah, that's assuming I'm still alive, right? Which I probably will be. God likes to keep me around for some strange reason. Okay, that's the end of this video. I'm converting over videos. I'm transferring them onto my external hard drive because I'm pumping out these videos hardcore like the good old days, eh? You know, my son, oh, all you do is YouTube videos. That's not work. And I'm like, whatever. I don't claim it to be work. It's community activism. I suppose when you kleptomaniac my stuff and you give it away free, I suppose that's your charitable act, so I can't be mad at you for being charitable. I said that to myself today. Right? Like, Jesus Christ, nice to be charitable at somebody else's expense, you know? Or at least my son is being charitable when he's like giving it away, right? To whoever, however. You know, I mean, as a mother, you can't be mad about that because that's kind of what you expected him to grow up and do anyway, right? Considering who you are, right? So, but right now they're being, I don't know if they're being real sneaky about what they did down there and they're just trying not to draw any more attention to themselves, or if they were slightly, I don't want to say more respectful about what they did, but maybe not as brazen about it, you know? Because the damage doesn't look that bad. Although I haven't gone down there and looked around yet, so I don't know. I'm not too worried about it at this point. There's bigger fish to fry. Oh yeah, bigger fish to fry. So I feel really sad for those people. Yeah, but it's just a matter of time before I'm going to end up like them. And if not me, because I'm not here, my family will be in that situation. And that's wrong. That is completely wrong. So, for what it's worth, I have a lot of information in there, not to mention what I've got downstairs. And we know that I'm going to be ordering the Criminal Code of Canada for 2024. Or their last print. And I kind of know what I want to do. Oh shit, I forgot those things. So I'll just put them over here. Look at this. Like stupid shit like this. And what is this? Another big ass bloody book. This one is something, I don't know. I pulled out a bunch of stuff from my bedroom when I put more food in there. Oh yeah. This is like if you were collecting something, like leaves or stamps. Like I'd put stamps in between this. It's nice. Shimei would have liked it. Even Sierra. Tisha, maybe not so much. But anyway, we got it. I'm not quite ready to get rid of it yet. Alright, end of the video.